Good morning, Internet. This is Alex does Sudokus, and it is Friday, the 18th of September 2020. Happy Friday, everyone. And we have another medium New York Times Sudoku for you today, so let's jump right in. Let's see, we're going to do some Snyder notations where we pencil mark in numbers where we only have 2 candidates for them per cage. So we're going to go around from 1 to 9, and but we only pencil mark in instances where there are only 2 possibilities within a cage. So I've got a pair of 1s there, so I'll pencil mark them in. But in this cage, this 1 and this pointed pair of 1s means I've got 3 possibilities, so I'm going to leave that alone. And by pointed pairs, I'm basically talking about, in this instance, where these 2 candidates of 1 are pointing up or down, basically. And in this instance, it's pointing up because I've already got a 1 down there. And in essence, if I've got the 2 1s lined up in a column within the cage, then they have to be within these 2 cells, basically. That means there are no 1s outside of this cage within the same column. Hope that makes sense, but that is the basic idea of pointed pair, basically. So, I don't see any more 1s that I can pencil mark in, so I'm going to go for 2s, and I can already see there's a single 2 that I can confirm in here. These 2s, along with that 2, also locks a 2 up here. And now these 2s, and that 2 locks a 2 up here. And now these 2s, along with that 2, locks another 2 over here. And now these 2, along with that 2, locks the final 2 in place. So that was a nice little chain there. If we look at 3s, I can see these 2 3s, and that 3 locks a 3 over there. Unfortunately, we haven't got quite the same kind of chain reaction going on, but these 2 3s also locks a 3 in this cell, and I think that's all the 3s I can do, and that leaves 3s kind of free to roam in these 3 cages, and there are no limitations in terms of which column they fit in, basically. So why don't we have a look at 4s? Well, this 4 locks a pair of 4s in here, and I think that's it. That's all the 4s there is. So let's have a look at 5s. 5s, well, I've got a 5 here because of these 2 5s and that 5 acting together, and now these 2 5s continue to lock a pair of 5s over there. And I'm just going to continue going around to see if I can see anything else, and I can't, not with 5s anyway. So let's look at 6s. So these 2 6s locks a 6 down here. That 6 sees into that cell, locks a pair of 6s over there. But if we look at this cage, the 6 locks out these 2 cells, so it has to be down here somewhere on row number 6. So that basically creates a pointed triple. So in theory, I could pencil mark in these 3 6s, and it will knock out that 6 pencil marking, because the 6 has to go somewhere within this cage on this row. But with Snyder notations, I'm not going to pencil mark in the 3 6s. Instead, I'm going to use that to visualize the fact that the 6 doesn't go here. And this is the reason I stay on a number. I go through the board 1 number at a time to make sure that I can spot these invisible pointed triples and be able to use them at the same time, basically. So now that I've unlocked that 6, this 6 locks these cells, so puts a pair of 6s over there. I think that's all I can do, so let's move on to 7s. 7s acts on that cell, so I've got a pair of 7s over here, and that's really useful because this pointer 7 rolls out this cell, and I've already got these 2 7s locking the columns, so the 7 goes here. And I think that may be it on the 7s, so let's move on to 8s. So this 8 sees into these cells, it locks a pair of 8s over here. So this pair of 8s, along with that 8, locks a pair of 8s up there. This is a pointed pair of 8s. So I've got an 8 down here, so it locks an 8 over there. So now these two 8s, along with that 8, locks a pair of 8s over here. These two 8s and that 8 also locks a pair of 8s over here. So I think the only thing left are a pair of 8s over here, thanks to these two 8s. So before I move on, I do want to have a look at this 4 and 8. This is what's called a matching pair. Matching pairs are basically when two numbers share the same two cells. They match each other in terms of the cells that they occupied. And they have an interesting effect, because if one of these is a 4, the other has to be the 8, basically. So if this is 4, that's 8. Whereas if this is 4, that's 8. So this basically means no other numbers can fall within these two cells. And it also means they can't go anywhere else. But we already know that. They can't go anywhere else within the cage. But they also can't go into any of these cells within the row. But by the pointed pair rules, that's going to be the case anyway. So with that in mind, we can deduce that we have what's called a triple within this cage now, because there are only 3 cells left, and they have to contain the remaining 3 numbers. And the reason triples are useful is because we consider it kind of like a weak area now to attack. So why don't we pencil mark them in? Well, I've got a 7 here, so got a pair of 7. 1s can be anywhere, and 5s can only be in these 2 cells, but 1 can be in any of these 3 cells. But when I pencil marked in the 7s, well, that rules out a 7 over here. But regardless of whatever went into here, by having this triple, I already knew that this cell is resolvable, because because I can deduce the triple up here, so there's only 1 cell in play. So in essence, this can be considered a matching triple, and where 3 numbers occupy 3 cells. So whenever you're left with 3 cells in a cage that are lined up in a row or column, that may be worth you looking at the corresponding column or row to see if you can deduce the final number. So I'm going to leave out the pencil marking for 1s, because I'm trying to be strict in terms of what I can pencil mark in. So, but I do know that I've got 1, 5 and 7 here ruled out in this column. So the only thing is left in this column is now a 9. So that's a handy way of placing numbers, basically. So the other thing has done as well, these pointed 7s have also locked a 7 in here, so I've only got 1 cell left to play, and it is a 5. So this 5 has the effect of unlocking the 5 over here, and it also locks a pair of 5s over there, because these two 5s sees into the rows and that 5 sees into the column. So that was quite useful. So now we've developed another weak area here on this row. There's only 1 cell left, so it has to be whatever is remaining, and this is a 4. So with that 4, we can deduce the 4 and 8 up there, because 4 couldn't go in that cell anymore, so it has to be an 8, and 4 goes there instead. So does that 8 do anything? Yes, the 8 unlocks the 8 over here, and suddenly we have another single digit left in the column, and it's a 7. So the 7 also locks a 7 over here because of these two 7s and that 7. I mean, technically just this 7 and that 7 locks the 7 in place, because these 3 cells weren't in play anyway. So these two 7s and that 7 locks another pair of 7s over there, and all the 7s are now pencil marked in. So the next thing I want to look at is the weak areas within these cages or columns, however you want to look at it. So I've only got, let's see, 1 and 9 remaining in these 2 cells within the cage, so I can pencil mark them in. Because if I've only got 2 cells left, then I can always pencil mark them in, because with Snyder notation, I pencil mark things in when there are only 2 candidates left. And over here, I have something similar going on. I've got a pair of 9s this time, and a pair of 4s, but I can't deduce what they are. So, anything else I can look at? So I think I've run out of areas where there are 2s, but I do have multiple areas of 3 that I can attack. So these are also weak areas. So we tackle the weak area of 1, 5 and 7 triple within this cage. Or we can also tackle the triple on this row as well. So these are 1, 7 and 4. So what we do is we look at the columns and the cages and see what numbers we can see out of the remaining digits. So we're looking for 1, 7 and 4. 1, 4 and 7. Well, I can see a 7 in this cell, but I can't see 1 or 4. I can't see 1, 4 or 7 in this cell. I can see a 4. So basically that can be 1 and 7. That can be 1, 4, 7. And this can be a 1 or 4. So we can't resolve this triple yet. So let's move on. I've got another triple here. And this time I already have the 3 numbers that I require. I can already see them in the pencil markings, providing they're correct. 1, 4 and 9 are the remaining digits in this row. And since these are already pencil marked in, I only need to look at this cell. And I can't see 1, 4 at all, so I can see a 9 there. So this is 1 or 4, which again is not useful for me just yet. Let's continue looking. I've got another triple here. This time I have got 1 and 4, but I haven't got 8, 9 and 6. So 6, 8 and 9 are what I'm looking for. Well, I can see an 8 and 9 in this cell. So since I'm looking for 6, 8 and 9, and I can see 8 and 9 there, this has to be a 6. So now these are now 8 and 9. Well, I can see a 9 there because there's a pointed pair of 9s, so that resolves the 8. And cleaning up the pencil markings places another 8 over there as well. And I know that is now the remaining 9. And this 9 helps me pencil mark in 2 more 9s up there because of these 2 9s. As well as 2 9s over here because of these 2 9s. But since I've got a pointed pair of 9s over there, this cell can't be a 9 anyway, so the 9 has to go here. So now I've got a 9 and a pointed pair of 9s ruling out these 2 cells, and I've got 9 over there. And those are the remaining places that the 9 can go. So we're doing quite well at the moment. I've got another weak area of 2 now developing, so these are 1s and 4s, but I can't see. Oh, I can see a pair of 4s pointing down in here, so I do know that that's a 1 and that is now a 4. And that 4 is really useful because this 4 rules out these 3 cells, and that 4 rules out those 2 cells. So 4 and 9 are resolvable. So the 9 also resolves the 9 over there. And we're on the home stretch now, I believe. That 9 doesn't do anything, but what about the 4? The 4, along with this 4, locks the 4 over there. And now this 4 and these pointer pair 4s locks a 4 over here. And that means this 4 also locks, oh actually, these 2 4s locks a 4 over there. So that unlocks the 4-9 pair. And this 9 now unlocks the 9 and 1. And this one pushes a 1 in there as well. So this one also unlocks the 1 and a 3. And over here on this column I've also got a 3. So what have I got left? Well, I've got 5 and 6 over here. I've got 6 into this cell, so that has to be the 5 and that has to be the 6. And this 6 takes out that pencil marking, locks a 6 in there. I've only got 1 cell left in this column and 1 cell left in this column, so I can deduce these as 5 and 1. And this one finally allows us to pencil mark in the 1s in these 2 cages. Not that we really need them at this stage. This column only has 1 number left, and it is a 6. And if that's a 6, then this has to be a 3. What else can we do? Let's see. This 5 actually unlocks the 5 over there. And by placing the 5, I deleted a 7. So 7 has to go up here. 1 has to go here. 1 has to go there. 7 has to go here. And finally, we placed the remaining 6. And that's today's medium New York Times Sudoku. Hope that's been useful. Please leave a like and subscribe if you do find this useful. Otherwise, I shall see you tomorrow. Bye!